Hello and welcome to why you should buy the Canon M50 Mark II. This live stream, if you're watching a replay or live, will show you exactly why you should buy this awesome camera. Stick around to find out and watch to the end of the video to get all the information that you need in deciding if this is the camera for you. You're going to get value from this video. So, welcome! I'm Dave from TVR Creators and I make weekly content on cameras and all the best gear for content creators. If that sounds interesting to you, subscribe now, hit the like button and let's crack on with the video. So why should you buy the Canon M50? It's an absolute superb camera. I love this camera. Now, this is technically the M1 and it is pretty much similar to the M2 and I will explain why. Now why should you buy the Canon M50? So I like this camera because it's light, it's mobile. Originally, if you've seen some of my videos a year or so ago, I did express I felt it was a bit too small to begin with, but that's because I was used to the traditional SLR, which is just over there, and obviously for most of us, we know how much bigger they are compared to the, the modern mirrorless camera. Why are they so small? Because they're mirrorless. That is the main reason. And technology gets better all the time, more compact and all that sort of jazz. But why do I love this camera? I love this camera because it costs way under £1,000. You can get it now for sort of about $600-700 depending on where you buy it. I do have a link to the description if you want to buy it off Amazon. It is an affiliate link, and I've got a link to the Mark 1, the Mark II, the Canon with an SD card and the starter kit, depending on what you're looking for. So feel free to check it out after you've watched this video. But why do I like this camera? I like it because it has interchangeable lenses. I'll show you how easy it is. So if you can see, there it is close up. It has a little pin there, if you can see it, and you literally just press it gently. Give a little turn to the lens and off it pops, just like most cameras, I guess. And depending on which one you buy, it does come with the 15 to 45mm. It's basically the starter kit lens that comes with the camera. And to reconnect, I don't know if you can see that little white dot, you can just connect the two little white dots gently. And it says on live TV, you connect them slowly, gently, and just turn it, and let's hear that satisfying click. I love that click noise. Smash the like button if you're getting value, or if you get value from that clicking noise. I love that. For any of you that have a camera, I love that. And why? You might want to think, for those of you that are complete beginners, you're thinking, why do I want to change the lens? Well, that future-proofs you down the road. You can buy yourself a particular lens, or if you want to get something like a 300mm later down the road. I've got my bag here now, which I will show you why I keep meaning to get an adapter. Now, you don't have to get an adapter, it just comes with lenses that fit the camera. But I have an older 300mm that came with an older camera, and later down the road I may consider to get a small adapter to connect to the camera, so I can put, say if you've got older lenses laying about, you can use them with this camera, and that's something to bear in mind in the future. Also, what's really cool about this is the lens and the camera sensor give an absolute tremendous, fantastic and epic video quality. It records in HD and in 4K, which is really, really good. I love that. Now, I will sort of point out that when you record in general, it just have a slight crop that can be fixed by changing the lens if you so wish, but I do not find any problem. I just put it to 15mm, I just go to press record and off I go. And that's another thing that I love about this camera. If you want to, you can literally just put it on auto, or more particularly video or photo, and you can just press record and just off you go. Stick on the tripod, off you go, bam. And that's what I love about this camera. So for me, just give you a bit of background, a bit of a storytelling, if you will. I did a lot of films and videos back in the day, up to about 2 or 3 years ago, and I recorded mainly with like point and shoot cameras. And the main reason for that were obviously they were much cheaper, they're getting a professional camera, but also they were easy to use. And I'm all about making things things as efficient, as easy as possible in a productive way, so things don't take 6 years to get the right shot. And that's what I love about the M50. You can literally just stick it on a tripod, and if you want, press record, and the sensor is so good on it, I generally mean this, that it will pick up the video exactly how you want it, and off you go. That's why I love this camera. It's just so easy to use. So all these little things to bear in mind. What's really cool, actually, it has, when you're taking photos, you can press there. It's a 24 megapixel camera, and it does take fantastic photos. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys. If you're getting value, smash the like button. And I've found even in low light, it takes really good photos if you want to get a really nice sunset. And you're probably thinking, well, I can do that, Dave, on my phone. And I'll be brutally honest, you can. But I don't know, as a creator, as a YouTuber, as somebody that just wants maybe a photography as your hobby, or you're starting out in photography or video, I just think it's really good, personally, to have a piece of gear that's separate from your phone. It's not getting interrupted by social, and that does exactly what you want it to do and doesn't cost the earth. Now, for some of you, 600-700 might be a bit too much. And I would highly recommend holding off, saving up to get this camera if you're thinking about starting out proper here on YouTube. I just think this camera is so good for taking video. I just can't highlight how much I love this camera. What's really cool, actually, as a creator then, we're thinking on the side of creator for a moment. It has this 180 flip screen, which is really cool. It is a touchscreen, and it's a really user-friendly menu. What's the difference between this and the M200? The M50 Mark II, it just has a few extra settings. It gives a bit more, you know, if you're a real beginner, it's a bit more sort of overly user-friendly, just to make a few things easier. And I'll be brutally honest, the only main difference, for the sake of £50 or $50 roughly, is that you get a clean HDMI. That is the main difference between the Mark I and the Mark II. Now, if you've already got an M50 like me, I would say keep it and use it. And if you've already got one, you'll probably be able to write in the comments below why you love this camera, and I'm sure most you will. If you haven't got this, and you're just somebody that just wants the newest tech, or you just want one or two extra features, then go with the Mark II if you don't already have the Mark I. Just being brutally honest, you know, if you want that clean HDMI for streaming, or, you know, doing that sort of thing, or recording video as you're recording, that sort of jazz. And if you just want a few extra features, but apart from that, it is pretty much the same camera. So I'll be brutally honest, sorry Canon, but if you've already got the Mark I, you probably don't need the Mark II unless you break it or you just really want the newest item. But if you don't already have the Mark I would highly recommend getting the Mark II, because it looks and feels exactly the same, and it's just a great camera. Now, for those of you that are a bit old school, I'll be honest, I don't bother using it. But if you want to use the viewfinder, it does have an old school viewfinder, which is really helpful for those of you that just prefer that. If you're taking photos, or you just, you know, that sort of thing, you want to get the right video shot perhaps, or a little power tip, actually, if you just want to save the battery, because obviously the touchscreen uses a bit more energy than not using it. So if you want to save energy, you can actually just mess around with the options, with the buttons, and just look through the viewfinder if you prefer to do that, or perhaps you're getting low on battery. A little power tip, actually, for any camera, I would highly recommend buying yourself at least one spare. Quite often you buy them in sets of 2 anyway, but definitely get a spare battery. But not saying that the battery that comes with it lasts 2 minutes, because I find another little power tip, actually, I'll share you guys. If you turn it off every time you're not using it, I found this lasts for quite a while. You know, if you're out and about on, say, a day trip or a photography trip or whatever, if when you're not using it, you just turn it off, which is easy to do at the top, you know, the battery will be fine. But you never know, it's always handy just in case to have that spare battery, and it don't cost a lot. You can buy them for £10-20 or dollars, so it's really easy to just get a spare battery. Little power tip. And I'll definitely recommend getting yourself a little tripod eventually. You don't have to, but down the road, I just think, I've always said for a long time that a tripod is your best friend. I'm using one right now. It was the original one I had about 15-20 years ago. It's probably a bit longer than that now. But anyway, getting back onto the M50. I'm just going to briefly say what I don't like about it, which I'm going to be brutally honest is really hard, because I love this camera. I'm not just saying this. I use this when I'm making videos, if I'm doing music videos. I've used it to make a short film. And another thing actually, if you're a creator, it does have, for those of you looking for this, an external microphone jack. So you can connect a microphone on the top, whichever way you want it. And it does have an internal microphone, which is fine for indoors, so bear that in mind as well. But if you're recording outside, you don't want that annoying wind and all that jazz, I would highly recommend getting yourself a microphone at some point. Get one for sort of $50, £50. You don't need to spend the earth personally on a tripod. And if you feel that you want better quality sound, you can do that down the road. And so I would recommend actually is getting a clip-on mic. They produce really good sound. And if you want to spend a bit more money, you can get a wireless one. So that's something to bear in mind as well. A little feature, you know, if you're a creator or filmmaker, that's something to bear in mind. It does come with a cap. Now, what does the camera actually come with? You're probably thinking, Dave, what does the M50 actually come with? So you basically get the box. You get the camera, you get the kit lens, and depending on what package you get or, you know, which version you get, sometimes they come with a couple of lenses, it just depends. Amazon especially, or Canon, and they quite often do like starter sets and stuff like that, where sometimes you'll get like a cheap tripod, you'll get a couple lenses, maybe some extra caps, you might get a bag with it, sort of basic SD card. Bear in mind that personally, the SD cards aren't always the best, and sometimes you can get better ones. Perhaps talk about it in a different video. Little quick power tip while we're here. There he is. Welcome to the green room, Brad. I would definitely recommend an Extreme Pro SD card, at least 16 gig or bigger. I know most of you probably get 64, 128, that's just how we are now, but I personally use like a 32 in mine, and that lasts ages. I record multiple videos before I have to think about deleting them. Sometimes people think you have to get ridiculously big and spend like £100 or whatever on an SD card. You don't have to do that. I have an SD card that's only 16 gig, and that's perfectly fine if I'm just doing photos or if I'm just doing one or two videos. So bear in mind, you don't have to spend the earth on SD cards, and you can get one of them for about £10-20 or dollars. So bear in mind, again, you don't have to spend the earth. It's basically, once you got the camera, you're pretty much set up down the road. So that's something to bear in mind. If you're getting value from this video so far, smash the like button. If you like to support the brand in any way, you can check out our merch, which is really cool. We've got mugs and t-shirts. I've got some newer stuff that's on the store shelf, and there's a link to that in the description, so feel free at any point to check it out. Or, you know, if you want to really support the channel, you can just watch more of our videos. There'll be links, as you've probably seen, pop up if you watch this on the replay. And also just feel free to check out the channel and see what other cameras we talk about, you know, at different price ranges, stuff like that. And next week I will do I'm thinking of doing a video on sort of looking on sort of Amazon and eBay at what cameras are about at the moment, sort of a bit of a generalization. That's what I'm planning to do perhaps next Friday. So I said to you earlier about what I don't like about the M50, and there's very little. You're going to get value from this video. There's very little that I don't like about this camera. Hang on a minute, I'm going to be brutally honest now. What do I don't like about the M50? I don't know. I actually don't know. I've been completely Dumbledored. I can't think of some. I'm being brutally honest now. The only thing, and this is a really silly thing, a little power tip, if you're putting the microphone in and you want to use the screen, if you're recording, is just turn it up so it's facing you, and then you open the cap, then plug in the microphone. It's just a little, you know, if you do it in the wrong order, you could break the cap and damage your camera. That's about literally it. The SD card's really easy to get to, and the battery's on the bottom. It just flicks open at the bottom there, as you see. Really easy to get to connect a tripod. You just screw it in. Be gentle. It is metal, but you know, it's easy to break like anything if you're heavy-handed. But if you're careful, it should last you years. That's been brutally honest. I've got a tripod. One of my tripods that I'm using with this webcam, I've had for years and years and years. So if you look after your stuff, you know, it lasts ages. It does have a lens. It does have a flash. And you can play, if you're a bit of a pro and you want to play around in settings, you can obviously play around with shutter speed and ISO and all that sort of jazz in the manual settings, and set it up however you want, depending on what shot, in the sense of what photo you want to take, what video you want to take, if you want to, you know, get that blur background, all that sort of jazz. One little cool feature I like, actually, when you're recording, is if you're, you know, if you just sort of, you want to just like press on your face, you can tell it live to focus on certain objects. I find that really handy, especially if you're, I don't know, you're talking about an object and you just want to press on the object so it's focused on the object rather than you talking, perhaps. That's something really cool, actually. There are and the Mark II would probably do that a little bit better, but I think the Mark I does that brilliantly. And what do I love about this? It's easy to play, easy to delete stuff. It's just a very easy all-round camera, and I absolutely love it. So if that's not convinced you, I don't know what will. Go in the links below, buy it, and just buy it. And I know quite a few creators now that have bought it, and a few of them on my recommendation, a few of them that I've just heard of it anyway, and they're all happier with it. They all love this for either photo or video. It's an absolutely banging camera, especially for a first video camera, if you want something that's a bit more decent and just gives you that range, and you can future proof it down the road with more lenses, etc. I really hope that you got value from today's review and on this video, and thank you so much for watching. And I may do a brief after show, but until next time, feel free to look around the channel. Have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, you guys rock. You're going to get value from this video. Alright, so I'm just going to brief after show this for those of you core fans that want to hang around a bit longer. There probably will be end cards, all that sort of jazz. So for you core guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your happy birthday messages and all that jazz. It really does mean a lot. Hope you got value from today's video. And I'm sure those of you that have an M50 can write in the comments below why you like this camera. It's an absolutely fantastic camera. Absolutely love it. I can't wait to start recording videos. I plan to start recording a video next weekend with this camera. I cannot wait. And I just love this camera. I just want to say briefly, thank you so much for all your support. And I hope that this year and the next coming years get easier in the sense of all the madness that's going on in the world. But we take our challenges week by week, don't we? And as creators, there's so much going on. There's some new features on YouTube I highly recommend. Go and check out people like Think Media, Nick Newman and Brian G. Johnson, and they all have very different views and they look at different sides. Think Media is more like gear and inspiring you. Nick Newman's more sort of like the inners and how it works, and Brian G. Johnson is like the psychology of the creator and the things that we all deal with as creators. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and thank you very much, Brad, for your kind words. Thank you, means a lot. Anyway, thank you so much all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this after show. It was only brief. I just want to say thank you and share some love with you guys. Have a great weekend. And you know what? You guys rock! You guys rock! You guys